Hello again. Now, hopefully, these furry friends of mine will stay calm now. Giving them a little time to get the energy out today. So I've got another tip here for teachers. Teaching tip number 2. What kind of learner are you? What kind of learner are you? As teachers, we need to stay learning. We need to keep learning. We can't go stagnant. We can't stop with what we've learned in the past and say, I got it all. If we're stagnant, we lose our students, because our students pick up on how we've gotten to a plateau, and we tend to stay teaching the same things if we don't keep learning. And that's when people talk about soapboxes. Oh, they're getting on their soapbox again. Part of the reason for soapboxes, I believe, of course, part of it is it's important to them, but the other part, I think, is because maybe they've stopped growing. Maybe they've stopped learning. And they're just waiting for everybody else to catch up with them, which is not a good place for a teacher to be, because none of us have attained yet. None of us have learned all there is to learn about God and His ways. So, what kind of learner are you? Now, there are a few different models of levels of learners out there. One, and I'm not even sure who put this out. There are these different models that I've been hearing for a long, long time, and so the first one is 4 levels of learners. Now, the top level of this is called unconsciously competent. Unconsciously competent, meaning they have a vast amount of knowledge, but they don't believe in themselves. And so maybe, well, I wouldn't say that's the top level of learning, but that's what they have here. The third level, the one below that, is conscious competence. I would put this at the top. Confident in what they know, and this type of learner learns fast. They don't often rebel against more teaching, but they know what they know, and they're good at what they know. And a lot of times, if you're dealing with one of these, all you got to do is point them towards something that needs to be done. And even if they don't know how to do it, they will go and learn how to do it. Hold on a second. Sorry, one of the doggies was getting into something he shouldn't. So, the unconsciously competent one, the first one I talked about, the main thing we got to help them do is learn that he knows what he knows. Okay, level 2, conscious incompetence. This one knows that they don't know, and they're eager to learn. So, people that know that they don't know something, they're like sponges, and they want to learn. And the first level is unconscious incompetence. This one doesn't know anything about your subject, and they need to hear every single detail from the ground up. And they don't know what they don't know. So this one is sometimes difficult to teach because they don't know that they don't know. But you need to teach them every single detail from the ground up. Then you have the 7 levels of learners, and let's start with the bottom level of this one. This one This list is one that I often think about. This one, when I learned this, it really motivated me to strive to be the top level of learner. So, bottom level number 1. This one doesn't learn anything. You can lecture them, you can teach them, you can show them, and they're kind of in la la land, and they don't care. They don't want to learn. They just don't learn. Level 2. This one learns some of what is emphasized. So if you have a teacher teaching, this kind of learner learns what the teacher goes, this is what you need to remember. And they learn some of those. This is what you need to remember. Level 3 learns all of what is emphasized. And so this one gets in their mind every point that the teacher makes, that they emphasize these points. So they remember all of what's emphasized. They might take notes, they might journal, but they want to get it. They want to get all the emphasized points. Now level 4 learns all of what is presented. Okay? So some learners go, I just have to get the main points because that's what's going to be on the test. Well, if we do that through life, we're going to miss half or 75% of what teachers are giving us, what people are teaching us at our jobs, in our ministries, in our lives, for our marriage. We're going to miss most of what is out there to catch. So level 4 is learning all of what is presented, not just the emphasized parts. Learning all of what's presented. Level 5. Okay, here's where we cross over into deeper learners. Level 5 learners learn what is implied, not just the material that's presented. Level 5 learners know how to study between the lines as well as what's on the lines. Level 6 learners learn by emulating or imitating a good instructor. So level 6 is another crossing over. So all the first 5 levels, well, level 1 doesn't learn anything, but the next 4, they learn and just retain what is taught. Level 5 goes a little bit deeper and asks themselves, what are they getting at? What is the purpose of what they're teaching? What do I need to get out of this more than all the stuff that they're saying? Level 6 gets all the information, gets what's emphasized, gets what's implied, but level 6 learners, they want to learn how to be like their teacher. They want to emulate their teacher. They want to imitate their teacher. And so they're sitting there learning not only the material that their teacher is giving them, but they're learning actually how to teach by watching this teacher. And they're taking mental note. When this teacher kind of went off over here, they lost me. I don't want to do that. When this teacher told a story, man, that drew me in. I want to do that, So watch, if you want to be a level 6 learner, get all the material, yes. Take notes, yes. Take notes. How much do you remember that you don't write down? Unless you have a photographic memory, which I doubt really very many people do. We forget most of what we don't write down. Like, I wrote these notes down a couple days ago, and I was thinking about going through this list on my walk recently, and I was like, I lost it. but I have it written down. Now I can teach you. Okay, so level 6 emulates and imitates a good teacher. They don't just write down the material, but they're watching the teacher, and they watch good instructors and catch what good instructors do to teach, how to teach well. Now, level 7, again, we're going to cross over into another realm again. Level 7 learners, they do everything really well with the first 5 levels, not including number 1. But they go a little further, and they figure out how to apply what is being taught beyond the application that has been done before. So level 7 learners, they go beyond the status quo. They go beyond with what they're learning. They go beyond, and they're thinking, oh, I could use this here, and together, boom, we could create something even better. Or we could solve this problem with what I just heard here. That's what I need, Level 7 learners not only are learning how to emulate their good teacher and teach like they teach, but they're also taking the material that they're learning and creating new pathways and new understanding to solve new problems or create something new that the world has never seen before. This is where we get inventors. This is where we get problem solvers. This is where we get leaders of companies and businesses and ministries where they're taking what they're learning and they're processing how can we use this to solve this. And so my question again to you is, what kind of learner are you? Remember, we only can teach what we've learned. What kind of learner was Jesus? Let's look in the Bible quick. Luke 2, verse 40 through 52. Luke 2:40 says, "And the child grew and waxed strong in spirit, filled with wisdom, and the grace of God was upon him. Now his parents went to Jerusalem every year at Passover, at the feast of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem after the custom of the feast. And when they had fulfilled the days, as they returned, the child stayed back behind in Jerusalem, and Joseph and his mother knew not of it. But they, supposing him to have been in the company, in the group with them, they went a day's journey, and they sought him among their kinfolk and acquaintance. And when they found him not, they turned back again to Jerusalem, seeking him. And it came to pass that after 3 days they found him in the temple." What were they feeling after 3 days of looking for their son? 12-year-old boy. They found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the doctors, both hearing them and asking questions. What kind of learner was Jesus at 12 years old? And all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. And when they saw him, they were amazed. And his mother said unto him, "Son, why have you dealt this way with us? Behold, your father and I have been searching you, sorrowing." And he said unto them, "How is it that you sought me? Didn't you know that I must be about my father's business?" But they understood not the saying which he spoke unto them. And he went down with them and came to Nazareth, and was subject unto them. But his mother kept all these sayings in her heart. And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and in the favor with God and man. So, there's a lot in there. You could use that passage to teach children, hey, if you want to be like Jesus, be subject to your parents. Obey and respect your parents. But the main thing here is, what kind of learner was Jesus? He sought out good teaching, and he sat at the feet of doctors and teachers and people in the temple, asking questions, not just learning, okay, but asking questions and listening. It says asking them questions and hearing them. What kind of learner are you? Have you stopped learning? Second question, what kind of learners are you teaching or discipling? What kind of learners are you teaching or discipling? What level are they at? Okay, remember the list? This level 1 doesn't learn anything. Level 2 learns some of what you emphasize. Level 3 learns all of what you emphasize. Level 4 learns all of what you present. Level 5 learns what is implied, not just the material you presented. Level 6 learns by watching you and emulates you. And level 7 takes what you are teaching and takes it to a new level. What kind of students, what kind of learners are you teaching? Now, we all want to have level 7 students, right? That would be awesome. Maybe a little challenging, because it might get us to feel insecure about ourselves, because they're going beyond what we taught them. But that's what we want. We want our students to go farther than us, because this isn't about us. It's about God's kingdom. It's about bringing more clarity and more unity to God's kingdom. And so as a teacher, our goal should be to motivate level 1s to become level 2s, level 2s to become level 3s, level 3s to become level 4s, and to stepstone our students to the next level of student. And I think one of the best ways teachers have done that for me is inspired me, like this list. I remember the first time I heard this list and I was like, whoa, I don't want to be a level 2 or 3 or 4. I want to be a level 7. I want to be the best learner I can be. And that came from just hearing this list. And we can browbeat them, say, you gotta be a better student. You gotta. But how far does that go? It's like trying to train dogs that are so full of excitement because they smell a new smell, and you're just trying to keep them next to you. And browbeating people doesn't work. It may seem like it works for a little while, but believe me, I was a teacher in a class of 60 students at times, because I taught high school band, junior high band, elementary band, and man, I sometimes still miss those relationships that grew in all of that connection and all that time. But one thing I learned in that time was there are good ways to keep your students' attention, and there are bad ways. Okay, so I'm feeling like I should tell you one of those bad ways. So, because I know you love a story, just like I do. So one day, my first year of teaching, okay, I'm 22, I think, just graduated college, and I weigh about 120 pounds all wet. And there's students in my class that are twice the size of me. And there are seniors. I'm teaching seniors in high school, and I'm only 22. And so it was challenging to learn how to keep 60 students in one class focused. And one of my worst mistakes was we were out on the football field practicing for a marching show. I had a loudspeaker and a microphone. You know those loudspeakers, what are they called? This is not a megaphone, but it's like a powered loudspeaker, and you can hear it on the other side of this little town when you shout through it. Well, there were a couple students way at the back of the field. I mean, everyone was at the back of the field because we were practicing coming onto the field from the back, and I was up front on the bleachers, well, on my megaphone, on my power amp, and I was giving instructions, and they weren't listening. And 2 or 3 of the students were talking a lot. They were just like, it almost felt like they had the attitude, make me listen, see if you can. You know, I don't know if that, I think what was really going on was they're just kids and they just want to have fun. But, you know, the enemy can get in there too. Anyway, I let it play with my heart too much, and I was getting madder and madder and madder, and finally I just yelled the girl's name that was talking the loudest, and she didn't do anything. She didn't turn, actually she started laughing, but she still was talking to her friends, and I was like, that should have got some attention. But then I noticed over on that side of the field, the girl I actually called, because it was my first year and I didn't know all 60 names very well, I called the wrong girl's name. And the girl that I called out, she was like, and she was almost crying, what did I do? And then the rest of the band just erupted in laughter, and I was like, So, if you are going to call somebody out, make sure you have the right name, because I just lost all respect that day. What little respect I had built up to that point, it was just gone, because number one, they saw me lose my temper, which shouldn't happen. You can be stern, but when you lose control, that is not good. They also saw me completely make a big mistake, and it took a while to get over that. So, when we're thinking about our students and the people that we're teaching, what level of learner are they? Look at that. And give them the benefit of the doubt. If they want to be around you, they want to learn. But we need to help them get to the next level. We need to help them see kind of where they're at and where they could be, and why we want to invest in them. You know, we need to encourage them. We need to say, hey, you are good at this, and that's why I'm teaching you. And I feel like God has planted something in you that He really expects to use, and I want to help you get there. I don't know what all He's planted in you, but I see something in you. And you have a choice. You can either learn from me, you know, because I'm not doing this because I have to hear myself speak. I'm doing this because I'm called. I'm doing this because I see something in you. And I'm doing this because I want to help you get to the next level. I want to help you become all that you can be in the Lord. I want to help you stir up those gifts in you to become what God has created you to be, and to enjoy it, to find that fulfillment. You know, because a lot of our students are still wandering in the world. They're still wandering, trying to find the right job, trying to find the right place in life, trying to fill those needs. And a lot of my teaching is from a heart where those things don't fulfill you. This fulfills you. Remember, Jesus said, I've written these things and I've said these things that your joy may be full. But as long as our students don't get that, it can hurt the teacher's heart, because you see where they could be and you see where they are and you go, oh, well, Lord, help. But it's not all about our teaching. It's all about the Lord bringing the increase. And so we need to remember that He's the one that brings the increase, and we do the teaching. So I know this teaching is getting a little long, but let me finish up with one last question. Hey, stay down. 1 second. Sorry. Emmett was getting a little bit mouthy. So, what kind of learners are you teaching or discipling? What kind did Jesus teach? First He taught the 5,000, and then He taught the 4,000 plus women and children. And then he also taught in the temple, and He taught the 12 and the women. And He spent a lot of time with the 3. So the third question is, who do you spend the most time training? Who do you spend the most time training? It says, let's go to 2 Timothy 2:2. I'm going to try to get this out quick before these little furry animals go all to the dogs. 2 Timothy 2:2. Come here. Sometimes when you have students that won't pay attention, you have to separate them. That works with dogs and it works with kids. It works with adults. There he is. So 2 Timothy 2:2 says, "And the things that you have heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit to faithful men who shall be able to teach others also." So the goal is to multiply disciple makers. The goal is to make more disciples who can make more disciples who can make more disciples. So who do you spend the most time training to be disciple makers? Who do you spend the most time with? If you are striving to use what God's giving you to disciple others, the Bible teaches us that we need to spend most of our time with the ones who are level 7 learners. That can be hard to come to grips with. But look at Jesus. He didn't spend most of His time on the mountaintop with the 5,000 plus women and children. He didn't spend most of His time in the temple teaching the Pharisees and scribes who didn't want to listen. He spent most of His time with the 12 men plus women who were following Him the closest, who He knew that God had ordained them for special things. And then out of those 12, He spent even more time with Peter, James, and John. Remember? He would often take those 3 a little farther with Him, because those 3 had to help establish the church on the other side of the resurrection. Peter, James, and John. So, who are you spending the most time training? If you're trying to train people who have already been trained and they're kind of you find that they're training you more than you're training them. Are you really training them? We need to go find people who need training. Hey, get down. Emmett, get down. Get down. We need to find people that need training. And you can learn from those who have been trained. Don't get me wrong. We need to stay learners. We need to learn. Like I said at the beginning, we need to learn from those who can train us and take us further. But if we're spending all of our teaching time teaching people who have been with the Lord longer than we have and who are already walking with the Lord, what are we doing? Why are we teaching them? They need to be teaching more. We need to be teaching more. We need to be training those who need to be trained, those who will be trained to train others. And may I say something a little bit stronger? If we're teaching those who are not training others, we may need to move on. If they're not going to be training others, they aren't the 2 Timothy 2:2 people that Paul encouraged us to spend our time training. Jesus taught many hard things, and his disciples said, Lord, these are hard things. But if I'm going to be a follower of Jesus, I can't shrink back from saying hard things when they need to be said. If we're teaching people who are not training others, and they're not going to go on to train others, it may be time to find somebody else to train. But go to the Lord before you make a jump like that. Go to the Lord and ask, Lord, are there some here I could spend more time with who want to learn from me, who want to learn what I have to teach, who need to learn what I have to teach? And Lord, help me focus more on them. And not give up assembling together with the others, but help me focus my training time, my teaching time, on the ones who need to be trained, who are eager to be trained, and who are going to take it farther than me. That's how the gospel spreads. That's how the apostles spread the gospel. So, what kind of learner are you? What kind of learners are you teaching? And who are you spending the most time training? God bless you as you continue growing your teaching gift. Bye for now.